to
Welcome to Power Hour. We're going to listen to
The
Alder.
millrates are on the west gate, gatekeeper at the west. Road fighters on the east side. In our community, there are 12 major clans. When you see the Okan being structured, every clan has a pole, has a rafter that connects to the central pole. Whoever designed the Okan maybe was a gift from Creator, the one that gives life to all things. Maybe the message there was that we should work together like the Okan. Every pole, every clan connects to the central pole. If we begin to count the sub-clans, you're going to be well over 30. Each clan has sub-clans, but the major clans, there's 12 of them. Okan has 12 poles, one central pole. Maybe that's the reason we have one head chief, 12 council members. Whether it's coincidence, but it works nice in our community. And I have to say, I've always been proud of who I am, who we are as a people. We are perhaps, I know in Canada, we are the only community that has a full complement of all of our traditional ceremonies, our clans, our traditional ways, our societies. We're the only ones. And in large part in the United States as well. I've traveled all over the world and you listen to the old stories. Our people date back to prehistory. School will try and tell you that maybe we ran across the Bering Strait. Not true. Origin stories begin not too far from our home places. Stories might even try and tell you that we used to swing from trees. Not true. Somebody did, not us. So we are an old culture. In fact, one of the oldest songs that we have among our people goes something like this. That's the start of the song for Eeniski. Scientists have been trying to date that Eeniski. The closest they could come to it with their carbon dating, whatever else they use to date things, somewhere between 60 to 70 million years. So we are an old culture. And I've yet to find any culture that's older than ours here within the Black Confederacy. Many of our legends, our stories talk about dinosaurs, talk about the ice ages that we went through several ice ages. What we needed to do to survive those areas, those eras. We are a powerful people. So I've always been pretty proud of who I am and who we are as a people. We've never had to borrow from anybody else to teach us how to be Indian. So we have it all. I think we're pretty fortunate. I was a little bit late coming this morning. When I drove by Standout, I remember today was advanced voting. So I had to make a turn and run up to the multi-purpose building to see if it was crowded. I was the first one to vote. I already knew who I was going to vote for way ahead of time. go to too many forums. I know the people. I'm kind of an old guy. I know who's good for our people, who's good for our ways, who's gentle, who's got a good heart, who has understanding, who has respect. There's no anger among our people. I was raised by my grandparents, lost my parents at an early age. But in our ways, Mom and Dad can give you practical living skills. But when it comes to the higher level of teachings, rituals, songs, heritage, history, you need to go to Grandma and Grandpa's house. When my turn came, my grandparents told my parents, this one is going to stay. We have plans for it. I was fortunate that way. And I'm a survivor of boarding school, residential school. One of the first things my grandparents told me was, never forget who you are. That'll help you through any difficult times that you may experience in the future. They're not going to like you at residential school. There's going to be painful experiences. But there's a teaching that they teach you when you're at that time. Anything negative that happens to you, anything painful, take it, flip it, make it work for you. So it's an old Indian trick, I guess, what it is. At boarding school, I had to serve food. I worked in the kitchen, the dining room. I had to serve food to the authorities. But every time I got into trouble, I got sent out to the barnyard. We had livestock, and I had to help clean up out there. Then I'd have to go back in to serve food. So for 10 years, they never knew what I was throwing in the soup and serving with a smile. I took my strapping, flipped it around, and made it work for me. Many of the strapping, we had to turn it into a game. We all grew up around ranches, rodeos. The straps, the two straps that they used, one was a thin red Latigo strap. The other one came off a conveyor belt of some sort. So that when it was your turn to get the strap, it was your turn at the rodeo. And you were either going to ride the little red horse or the big black horse. Every strap was one jump. And when they make you cry, that's when you're off. The wrong when you're out of the rodeo. So some of us would actually line up like this. For 10 years, they never figured out what we were up to. But we turned the strap into a rodeo to make it to survive. When I went to school, I knew 3 words of English. Blackfoot was my first language. I knew yes, I knew no. We had a neighbor that he just once in a while would say, "You'll take it." And. So now I'm getting in line to get the strap. Somebody took the tube of toothpaste. Nobody would tell on each other, so we all had to get the strap. When my turn was coming close, my friend behind me said, say something in English when you get to where you're going to get the strap. Maybe they'll take it easy on you. So I stood in front of the priest and I said, "You pig." He's about to kill me. He never took it easy on me. But I spent just about a month learning enough English to survive with. For those of you that are challenged with trying to learn Blackfoot, you can learn it pretty quick if you put your mind to it. Difference between Blackfoot and English, it's a whole different thought process. When I hear something in English, I have to process it in Blackfoot and try and spit it out as something that makes sense. But the thought process is totally different. Some of the authorities used to call us in boarding school les chiens. I always thought they would call it cute. So when I got to high school, I had to study French. I learned French. I learned what le chien means. It means the dogs. And then to try and learn how to be a good altar boy, I had to learn Latin. So now I've got Blackfoot, English, Latin, French. On my own, I've been studying Spanish. Now that helps me to get by wherever I go. A little bit about where my employment started was in law enforcement. I was the first Indigenous police officer in the city of Calgary. People used to phone in complaining there's an Indian driving around in a police car and he's got a gun. It took the city a few years to get used to the fact that our people can be meaningful partners in society. After that, I came home. I started our own police force, which is still going. And then I was hired tribal manager for almost 11 years. Following that, I became a federal agent for 20 years. Now you're beginning to figure out just about how old I am. Anyway, retired 16 years ago. I was going to golf every day of my retirement. I've golfed 3 times in the last 16 years. So they keep me busy, not only in our community, in fact, after a meeting here, I have to run to Calgary. I have a meeting with the Confederacy in the morning. So they keep me pretty busy. And I enjoy the work I do. Some people call me an elder, knowledge keeper, grandfather, whatever. I really enjoy working for our people. You know, the BTA is probably the biggest employer in our community. And we have some of the best educated people on staff. BTA doesn't hire junk. They hire people that are good-hearted, honesty, they have integrity, they have courage, they have understanding, they have respect. Those are all the traditional values of our people. When you walk into the administration building, you walk down that hallway, every traditional value is on the wall. That's who we are. Years ago, the elders got together and tried to put together something that we could call maybe a constitution, but a description of who we are as a people. They came up with a declaration called Finite. Talks about who we are. Since then, Pete Bunny has taken our model and called it Pete Bunny's. So that's we started that using the knowledge of the elders. Among our people, there is belief system that there is a sacred kinship of all things. The universe, Creator's world, life, the land. When you look at our teepee designs, the top part of the teepee acknowledges the universe, Creator's world. The middle part that we share a small part of talks about life. And then the very bottom, our connection to the land. When you look at Kainai closely, it talks about that sacred kinship. And ever since the declaration was made by the elders of our community, each of the members of Chief and Council have adopted it and have mandated every department in the Blood Tribe administration to incorporate Kainai into their day-to-day affairs. When Council makes their oath of allegiance, their sacred oath, Kainai is in large part a part of the oath that they make. When employees sign on as an employee, you agree to conduct yourself according to the code of conduct that is in your policies. It talks about financing, how to conduct yourself. Probably the first sentence in the code of conduct says, as an employee, it is a non-political public service. That's really important to know. Because in our community, we have our leaders, they are the government, they are the lawmakers, they establish the law, they establish the policies, and then we as administrators carry out the law, we administer the policies. And there is a pretty solid line between lawmakers and administrators. So when you go vote, be careful of the bullies that are going to try and be administrators. They're not administrators. You people are. You're hired because you are skilled employees. You're hired because you have the credentials to be administrators. You have the integrity, the understanding, the respect that people expect from the tribal employee. You are a public service to the public. You're not in service for your relatives or for personal gain. You are there to help the people. The last couple of days you've been given some pretty interesting topics to keep within you. Positive thinking, lateral violence, wellness at the workplace. You've had some professional people talking to you about those different areas. So you're probably pretty full up here. I'm not going to add too much more to your already full toolbox. Just remember that you are an important part of our community. Take some of those tools that have been given to you in the last couple of days. Take your training, take your credentials to work with you, and watch out for the employee that says, I love my job. It's the work I hate. It's time to maybe think about doing something else. If the work is getting a little too much, then do something else. But an employee dedicates themselves fully as I look around the room, I think I can only see one, maybe two of the employees that were there when I was there. We had fun when we were there. And we made it clear with our leadership that you guys make the law. We will administer the law. Don't do our job. We will vote. So when you go vote, think about that. Don't vote for bullies. Or don't vote for somebody that's going to be in there just for themselves. Or somebody that's just looking for a job. Leadership that calls for quite a bit more than just a job. Calls for dedication to your community, to your people, to who you are as a people. So I've always been really, really proud. When I stopped in for the vote this morning, probably about 75 people, tribal employees, were there conducting the voting station. And don't forget to vote. Your vote counts. But that's about as far as your political affairs go. Vote, and then when you get back to your work, it's non-political. Check closely your code of conduct. I'm always really, really proud to walk into the administration and to know that way back we had a little bit something to do with putting it all together. They talk about a pillar system that we started. At one time they had over 25 committees on council. We got in, I said, we don't need 25 committees, we need 3. Thus the pillar system started. And some of them don't understand why, but it's all it is streamlining public service in 3 different areas. Governmental affairs, program development, finance. So be proud of first of all, who you are. Don't ever forget who you are. And don't worry about learning the English. Just seat yourself next to somebody that can speak pretty good English. I stood on that wall over there when we were separating, because I thought it was a privilege, a pretty high privilege to be a fluent speaker, and because then I could understand the old ways and still using new ways and combine them. Every time we introduce ourselves in public, I always have to introduce my mother's clan first, because there's protocol among the Blackfoot people. The female holds a higher place in terms of protocol, and then I introduce my father's clan. When I take my teepee to the Sundance, my first choice is to camp with my mother's clan. Only if they're full over there can I move to my father's clan. That's protocol. So believe in who you are. Get to know the areas and our people, the old people, pay pretty close attention to the seasons, watching the birds, watching the animals. Right now, the migratory birds are gathering. We're not really set for a great big storm yet. Now we're just getting a taste of what's to come. But they're still gathering. In our traditional calendar, there's 13 moons. And somebody came along with a 12-month calendar and threw everything out of whack. So one of their calendar months has 2 moons. But our 13 moons are all exactly 28 days apart. We don't have to make one 30 days, 31, 29, and then there was 4 years for a thing in there to balance things out. You could call it a leap year. Ours are all exactly the same distance apart. We have stories and about each of the moon. I get to visit some of the older people. They'll tell you about those cycles, tell you when they go hunting, and all things move in a clockwise direction. That's why our social dances are all in a clockwise direction. Because the whole universe works in that direction. Even your bath water when you pull the plug knows that direction. Deer hunters will tell you when you scare up your game, you never follow them, you're just going to take you in a big circle all day. When the deer go that way, you go this way, you're going to meet them over there, you're going to bring meat home every time. So that's why our dances are in that way. Unless you go to the ranch and still get drunk, the other day. Pretty soon somebody's got a hole in your shirt. Let's go outside, see how tough you are. Because they've gone against the whole direction of the natural world. So follow closely our traditional teachings and you'll very seldom go wrong. Follow your heart. There's a little voice inside you that tells you you're doing good or maybe you're not doing good. Listen to that voice. It's called instinct. Listen to your traditional values, your values of understanding. Understand our ways. Respect our ways. Then you got to have the courage to make decisions that are the right decisions. Kindness is a big part of our traditional ways, compassion, kindness. All of our traditional teachings have compassion as the root of the teaching. That way, you don't forget too many things. Always listen to that inner voice. That's who you really are. We talked about some of the ceremonies that we're now getting ready for wintertime ceremonies. People are hunting, preparing for the winter, gathering wood for the winter. And next week, this Stagdozi, the first full moon, comes. The next one that they call January, Ganimikachkoa, the one we all prepare for, or he has another name, Kaktori, the one that helps to heat up all the food, all the wood. So the lazy ones get caught up in the middle of that moon, and they have to go around stealing wood from other neighbors. In fact, there's an old guy who's given a name. Sepia called me. It's a lot of wood at night. He grew old with that name. So, enjoy the workplace. I'm proud of all you guys. I'm proud of the BTA. I'm proud of the health department, the education department, which is all basically BTA. A couple of them were extended arms, but they're all Blood Tribe administration. I'm proud of you guys, and I love you guys. Enjoy. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wilton. One more draw. Where's the man?
So welcome to Native Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday. I'll log off and come back on with some comments. So thank you.
His mom works at Metcalfe. I'll sign the